Think about the last great story you read. Usually it falls into one of two camps. You have the grounded grit of historical fiction, or you have the sweeping, magical landscapes of high fantasy. But there is always a trade-off. Epic fantasy gives you battles of good and evil that determine the fate of a universe, but the worlds themselves are entirely fabricated. Historical fiction puts you right in the dirt of real events, yet the stakes rarely stretch beyond who sits on a mortal throne. To bridge that gap requires tracing threads that conventional history often ignores. It takes synthesizing decades of research into ancient DNA studies, untangling forgotten linguistic roots, and mapping the exact migrations detailed in biblical genealogies. That synthesis is achieved in Kerman Gild's epic masterwork, The Red Hand and the Eternal Throne. The first great Celtic empires of the West trace their lineage directly back to these exiled, wandering tribes of ancient Israel. The narrative begins in the real world, emerging from the smoking ruins and shattered stones of the ancient walls of Jerusalem following the Babylonian siege. From those ashes emerge two figures carrying an immense burden. Princess Scota guards the royal Davidic bloodline in exile. Beside her stands Gathelus, a renowned Greek and Scythian warrior whose tactical brilliance is matched by his own complex heritage. Centuries earlier, the tribe of Judah divided into two branches, the line of Pharis, producing Judah's kings, and the line of Zerah, which wandered elsewhere. When Scota and Gathelus unite in Iberia, their marriage binds these ancient threads together, fulfilling generations-old prophecies. Because it relies on these deeply researched migrations, the narrative operates as a massive, believable geopolitical chessboard rather than a generic medieval fantasy. A grand historical map requires people you actually care about. The politics only matter because of the human beings caught in the crossfire. The slow-burn romance between Scota and Gathelus develops out of necessity and mutual respect. They are partners of equal intellect and strength, bearing the weight of an entire refugee nation on their shoulders. Building this new kingdom requires agonizing sacrifices. Warriors like the Greek twins and the Celtic chieftain Cador step into the dark to protect the people they love and the covenant they have sworn to uphold. These acts of fierce, protective loyalty, the willingness to die for a sworn brother, serve as the crucible that hammers the Hebrew refugees and the Celtic warriors into one unbreakable people. In the Iberian Mountains, the alliance faces an opposition far beyond mortal steel. Ancient demonic entities recognize exactly what the Davidic bloodline represents, and they are moving to destroy it. They face the giant king Balor, wielding the catastrophic power of his evil eye, coordinated by the subtle, supernatural deceptions of the prophetess Sethlin. During the climax of this war, human ingenuity reaches its limit. To save his people from total annihilation, Gathelus leaps forward and accepts the full, scorching force of Balor's gaze directly onto his left hand, thus creating the legendary, scarred symbol of the Red Hand. That moment of selfless physical sacrifice answers a spiritual requirement. In response, the skies open, and 6,000 blazing angels of the Lord of Hosts descend to cleanse the darkness and protect the covenant. By merging visceral human sacrifice with overwhelming divine intervention, the narrative steps directly into the staggering scale of biblical cosmology. With the darkness repelled and the covenant secured, the royal line continues. Scota gives birth to twin princes, ensuring the survival of their hard-fought legacy. While the firstborn remains to rule Iberia, the second son, Fergus, bears a distinct crown-shaped birthmark. It is a physical sign pointing toward a destiny across the sea. He eventually sails north, carrying the royal seal and the ancient stone of destiny to the emerald shores of Ireland, where it takes its rightful place atop the hill of Tara. This meticulously recorded lineage, tied directly to this very stone, lays the ancient foundations for the British monarchy and helps shape the cultural and spiritual architecture of Western civilization itself. The deepest, most thoroughly researched truths of human history and biblical prophecy provide the perfect fuel for a genuinely gripping narrative. The Red Hand and the Eternal Throne is a triumph of Christian historical fiction. Experience the journey for yourself and pick up your paperback copy on Amazon today.